Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arena World Championship. This is the 4th cup of the summer season, meaning that there's only 2 more cups remaining in the entire year here. And as a consequence of that, Method Black have finally locked in their spot for BlizzCon. They've been doing fantastically the entire year. We've been super impressed with them. Consistency is key in this program, and they've been the most consistent of all, I think, across the entirety of the world. Very good stuff, at least in these cup broadcasts.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really take anything away from Method Black. They've made finals every single cup, and it looks like they can actually hit 1,000 points still. I think they're at 700 something, right?
It's probably possible, yeah. I can believe it. Yeah, I mean, it must be possible, right? Because we've got 12 cups and it's 100 points per second each time.
Yeah, so if Method Black keeps it up, they're going to probably be the first team to reach 1,000 points as well this year.
Yeah, I remember last year they did that too. It was like super impressive. They're the only team globally to achieve it. I mean, Method Black just such a dominant force always, and that's why we expect every single time the poll comes in, it's always Method Black this, Method Black that. At the LANs, at the international LANs, they haven't always held it down for Europe in the same vein that we expect from them. But that's because we literally expect them to come first every single time. 72% of you guys think they're going to win, but equally Minpoike pulling a fair share of the vote. 28% think that this could be an upset. This is the Rogue Mage Mirrors. Let's see it. Gentlemen, take it away.
I believe in the underdogs. I've changed my mind. I think Minpoike, Acro, and Fried Kitty, they're all capable of quite a lot. They have their good and their bad days, but I think if they're playing on a good day, they can definitely tango with Method Black in the mirror.
I believe in a thing called Rogue Mage Druid, who is going to be the king of the composition here in Summer Cup number 4. Method Black have asserted dominance time and time again, but it's now been long enough. Perhaps Change My Mind have leveled up to be a big threat for them. Minpoike the target early on here for Method Black. Chaz
healer race.
Target. It's going to be a healer race in game 1. Chaz already exchanging his Gladiator's medallion. He's certainly much further behind than Minpoike, but at the same time, Minpoike's in midfield. He's trying to cross, but he gets caught. Big stun there by Waz. They have to defensively blind Waz. That now puts Method Black at a huge advantage.
Yeah, Acro manages to find a sap on Waz. Keep in mind, Chaz, he traded out his trinket very early on to not fall behind. Minpoike, he was a little bit more reluctant to trade it out. He fell behind, had to trink it out, and then they actually had to blind Waz defensively because he was still in trouble. That's essentially how the opener played out, and we'll have to see what they decide to do now. So interesting to see how the game is basically turned into a stalemate once again. Raikou just spamming out the frost bolts on Acro. Chaz crossing the map. Cheap shot on Minpoike. Raikou looking for the double ring of frost. Very nicely done. Acro in a lot of trouble right now in a 3v1 situation. Fried Kitty has to trade out an ice block defensively. Uses it as a trinket to get out of the ring of frost. A little bit late though. I think Acro was okay in that situation. Maybe a misplay might end up costing them later on, but so far it doesn't seem like the mages are really a target.
Bouncing between the Rogue and the Druid, I think, is going to be the most effective strategy, at least for the early game. Maybe if the mages use their ice blocks aggressively, we see a switch to try and punish something like that, but already so much momentum for both sides. Acro's Gladiator Safeguard has procced. They have a spell steal to strip it off. Doesn't look like it, but they've got a full blind. Waz knows that this is the game-winning crowd control. Acro has nothing left. Big hits come in by Raikou as they close game number 1 out before the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, very impressive stuff coming in from Method Black. This is the domination that we do expect from them. And I mean, it was just clean gameplay. It seemed like Waz had Acro's number the entire time. I remember I was watching Waz's stream last week, I believe it was, and he was playing as Waz. You saw this as well, right, Zeke?
I think we all saw it.
Everyone saw it. The clip's kind of out there now. It was basically Acro won the first Twos game, and then Waz won the second one, and he was laying some smack talk, it's fair to say. I don't think the clip available, but you guys should definitely go find it because it was great. And I mean, Waz able to style here in game 1.
Yeah, it's like watching my 2 sons fight, against each other.
You love to see that?
Which proud dad doesn't? At this point, though, I like that they were doing the healer race, but honestly, they should have swapped off of Chaz a lot sooner, At this point in the game, Minpoike Fried Kitty, they go for that nice CC chain here. They're trying to get some control here over onto Raikou, but Waz gets the kidney before Acro, drops the smoke bomb here. Even with Raikou in a polymorph, actually, Waz just basically going on a little solo mission here and procs off that safeguard. Chaz getting kicked by Acro, Waz trinketing out of the stun as well, but Raikou is just relentless here, trying to reach him, and he does, and that shatter at the end is enough. Securing counterspell as well, all they need.
I mean, so much of that matchup came down to the defensive blind. Waz, he had the offensive blind still available to put Minpoiki in that crowd control, which is why Acro went down. I actually feel like Waz would have been in a lot of trouble if Acro would have had his blind available to throw on to Chaz. So literally just a split-second decision like that earlier on in the game cost them, and that's why they won.
I mean, that's kind of the rogue mage mirrors that we're used to. Certainly if you go back to like Legion and other expansions, it can be really fast and volatile, especially when the druids and the rogues are the main targets. Obviously things slow down a little bit when it comes to targeting the frost mages, but how happy were we to see the strategy? Because we talk about this kind of constant evolution when it comes to rogue mage specifically. Like, no strategy seems to stick around for more than a few weeks here. This now just seems to be kind of tunnel the healer, force his trinket, blind him up, and get the kill on the rogue Sid, which is completely different to what we saw last week, where it was just mages.
The win condition is between the druid as a kill target or the rogue as a kill target. If the rogue uses the Glaire's Medallion on anything other than smoke bomb, then he's a very easy to target to kill. And then if the druid uses trinket on stun or blind, he becomes either a target to kill or a target to crowd control later on. So those are two of the main focus points. They can't use many of their defensive cooldowns while they are stunned, unlike the mage, who's going to be able to use ice block if he needs to. With the gladiator safeguard and with the ice barriers, it seems like the frost mage is also just a little bit stickier on the battlefield. So the strategy is adapted. It's now more of a healer race initially. Try and fish for as much as you can get. Switch to the rogue, fish for as much as you can get. But everything pivots on the blind.
Yeah, you can see these guys are buzzing as well right now. Even though, as you said, they were most likely going to go to BlizzCon, it was all but locked in. It does feel better, you know, the stress off your shoulders once it is officially locked in. Congratulations to Waz, congratulations to Raikou. Those tweets are coming out. Make sure you go like them, give them your love, give them your support, because these guys have been outstanding all year long. And the one criticism we did have of them is that they were so reliant on their ult compositions, which they've been excellent at, that they kind of let the rogue mage falter. We were saying Change My Mind were better at it, potentially Diabolos better in the mirror, but they've really proven themselves that not only can they play all these ult compositions, they can also catch up and prove themselves as the best on their mains as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, right now it's all coming down to the Rogue Mage mirrors. We got 3 teams left in the tournament, and they're all Rogue Mage Druid teams, so it definitely does come down to that. And, you know, they said they practiced a lot of mirrors. I think Waz tweeted that out, actually saying that we had, you know, 3 or 4 hours worth of practice where we got to actually try different strategies, and, you know, it shows they know how to react to a lot of these situations. They know, you know, okay, let's force the trinket on the druid. Okay, now it's better to blind him up and get something done on the rogue. Then we can win later on with a CC chain or a smoke bomb. And they set themselves up with these different situations where they can get a big advantage.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, I think it was last year, before Waz really adapted Outlaw as a specialization, it was actually Swapsy that challenged him and was like, why can't you play Outlaw as well as Taku? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, he's way better than you at it. He's like, you give me a week and I'll be the best Outlaw rogue in the world. And that ended up being such a crucial thing for them. Swapsy kind of motivated him pick up the Outlaw rogue, and it was a tool that carried them all the way to BlizzCon. And I just imagine Swapsy doing the same thing, like, why aren't you guys good at Rogue Mage Druid anymore? So they just decided to put all their eggs in that basket. They've been practicing it, and they've just been the most dominant team with the setup in all of Europe. And it just seems really strong from them.
I absolutely love Swapsy. Like, Swapsy as not only a member of your team, but also as a motivator, because there is no filter with this guy. He's very quiet. When we talk to him in interviews, you know, he can play the PR side, he can play the professional, but when it comes to just talking to him, like, in a team environment, like when I was overhearing his comms with Botar when I was competing against him in 2015, this guy can be ruthless. Like, if he thinks someone's not playing perfectly, he's like, well, you guys are hopeless then, or what? Like, I don't know. It's great. And, I mean, that is kind of what Method Black needed. They need someone to humble them, because these guys will get a bit on their high horse with a few victories, and they need that stability, and that's what's made them, I think, the best kind of variant of Method Black. 'Cause, I mean, Waz and Raikou have been playing together for so long, Sid. We've been watching them for what, like 3 years now? 2016, I think they started playing together.
I feel like it's been at least 3.
I think that was the first year, yeah.
They're kind of having the Sea-Doo story coming back and forth, trying to win BlizzCon time and time again. They always dominate in the online season, do okay at LAN, or at least they get first place in the second LAN, do okay at the spring, but they've never been able to take that title. And I think that's why Swapsy is stuck with them. Swapsy's like, I'm going to get you guys this title. Like,
You really think that's why? I think it's his best bet. I think
you think?
I don't think he's
I don't
doing
know.
this.
Do you think?
I he's doing this out of charity.
I want to ask Swapsy if maybe he would have retired if he wasn't thinking like, I need to get these guys this win.
Off
like,
it.
I feel like they're like a group of friends. He wants them to succeed. That's kind of the main goal of an arena player is to win BlizzCon. Swapsy's won it, I think, 3 times.
Twice.
2.
Only 2?
He's trying to catch Fab. Only Fab's has gone 3 times.
Oh, it's Fabio that won it 3 times. Okay, so he wants to get Method
sure
Black
he
this.
wants that
but what's funny
himself,
is he's not even playing. So, I mean,
he's not playing in this match, but he plays quite a bit for this team.
Yeah, I feel like Swapsy's a little bit in it for himself. He's got a pretty good Rogue Mage Druid on his side here, as we have seen featured a lot this season. Chaz, Raikou, and Waz. I wouldn't say no to this.
That's awesome. I mean, for Swapsy, Rogue Mage has been such a thorn in his side, and you know what he decided to do? Just pick up a Rogue Mage Druid for himself. And if you can't beat him, I suppose join him, and he joined one of the best ones, apparently. The Black's just dominating. We'll have to see what Change My Mind can come up with. And right now in midfield, both mages are going to be exchanging Frostbolts. Growth Silence onto both Druids. We saw a Druid opener in the last game. And Poike trading out his Iron Bark right away before the Kidney Shot even lands. Wasp being very patient with that, and this next Kidney Shot is going to be scary for Minpoike, as he doesn't have the Iron Bark as a safety net.
All right, they're just poking Minpoike, poking the bear, trying to see what they can get. They do manage to at least get Iron Bark, although that isn't exactly what they would have wanted. Much better to get the Bark Skin that is usable in a stun. Chaz pre-Iron Barks the Smoke Bomb from Acro. Beautiful read by Chaz there, anticipating that. That allows Waz to hold on to that human racial to break the stun later on if he absolutely needs to. Acro now the target for Method Black, mixing it up. Potentially baiting a trinket from Minpoike here. He doesn't want a trinket unless Vendetta is used, but it looks like he's going to have to. Acro taking huge hits even without it. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc. Minpoike polymorphed on the Iron Bark. They're trying to cut through the Iron Bark's defense. Acro retreating away, waiting for his healer to get out of crowd control with the Crimson Vial ticking. His health is going to recover rapidly, and he manages to stay alive, but look what's available. Vendetta for Waz, Frozen Orb for Raikou. Minpoike's out in the open. He might die through Bearform and Barkskin if they all connect, but Acro intercepts. Waz goes for the all-in. He trinkets out as well. Minpoike gets caught. This is going to be an insane amount of damage onto Minpoike. If they've got a spell steal for the Gladiator Safeguard, I don't think
Waz is in trouble too.
Waz is in trouble. Both members overextended to try and get the kill. Acro is punishing Waz for this overextension. Fully channeled Ray of Frost.
Cyclone.
Not enough? Is it really not enough to kill Waz after that huge overextension? Looks like he's managed to hold out for now, but Chaz gets counterspelled. Acro gets stunned. Waz reverses it.
Waz is in trouble. There's the Kidney Shot. They might be able to do it. Can they take him down? Waz is in a stun. Does he have anything? A massive heal comes in from Chaz as Waz shadow steps away to safety. He's going to be able to recover. That was a really nice offensive push coming in from Change My Mind. Waz, of course, still has that Vendetta. Where's the opening, though, Sid? Who are they going to go after? Do you think they should go after Minpoike again or just stick with the Rogue Tunnel down?
They still actually have Vendetta.
Yep.
I mean, I think for the next 40, they should try Minpoike again, at least if he overextends himself. Chaz spent a lot of mana throughout that push. Raikou used a block now. Change My Mind looking to punish that. Attacking Raikou. Chaz is interrupted. Acro gets stunned away. Fried Kitty gets polyed. Holding Change My Mind at bay. Full poly on Minpoike. Method Black are switching back to Acro. He evasions the Vendetta. But Waz doesn't seem to care. He's going to use that concentrated flame, going through the evasion and dealing extra damage, and Waz closes it out with the Shadow Step behind. Method Black up 2-0 now in the series, and who can stop them?
Yeah, Acrolos had the Kingslayer title on at the end of that one, but Waz is something else here. He will not die. It looked like he was dead for sure. I think he desperately kind of used his diminishing return kidney to stay alive there. Step back to Chaz. Nice moves. Such a close game, though. These mirrors are so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is playing at such a high level as well. And when Minpoike got caught, he was already at like 60 or so %. I really thought that Poike was going to go down, but he pre-vortexed Waz Shadow Step there, and that was actually the only reason why he survived. And here, of course, as well, Chaz tanked out the counterspell early on, swapped over to that Moonkin Affinity form, and he got some regrowths out. And if he wasn't playing Moonkin Affinity there, he would for sure get caught in a polymorph, or Waz would die because of Chaz just sitting in bear form, not being able to heal. So that talent right there really, really paid off for Method Black. And, you know, they were behind in mana, they were behind in a lot of different ways, but here, counterspell has been used. Chaz goes in for the bash into the full polymorph there from Raikou, and then here, you know, Acro is just on the run. He's going to be line of sighting Chaz. He has his evasion up, but not going to be enough. Shadow Step takes you behind that target, and that's going to be enough to get a global elf and solo Acro behind that pillar.
Yeah, I know. I think Waz probably super happy about that one. He would love nothing more than to just kind of kill off Acro in that 1v1. I remember he was super proud of the clip back in Legion where he just bombed him behind the pillar. He stepped back, got the one shot, clean stuff coming in from Oscar on the Rogue. Very good stuff. And I mean, I do want to talk about this Crucible of Flames talent as well. I know you've been a big fan of it. The new Essence coming in. And Waz utilizing that one really well because the evasion would typically basically make you immune to the enemy Rogue, but those sort of kind of extra little bits of damage do add up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you can basically stack up the Crucible of Flame, and then it's basically essentially something that builds up over time that is an on-use for additional damage. It's really strong. It seems like most of the Assassination Rogues in the tournament have been opting to use it. I think we saw Nixie also play it, so it seems like that extra damage is really powerful on that Assassination Rogue. When you do commit the kidney, then you can shoot those Crucible of Flames for additional damage, and it just seems really solid.
Yeah, well, obviously Method Black are now 2-0 up in the series. This is kind of the polar opposite of what we saw in the Wildcard Gaming series, where it was long, drawn out, best of 5, very close games. Here we are seeing a couple of close sections, but ultimately Method Black have been the better team. They're one game away from moving forward to our grand final. Well, Method Black seem to be the better of the mirrors here. Changed my mind, going to lock it in once again. Rogue Mage Druid, there's very few answers in the current meta for this composition, aside from the mirrors. Certainly Europe thinks that way about it. We've got 3 Rogue Mage Druids here in our final 4. Method Black, one game away from the grand final.
When you look in the mirror, you get what you see, and right now that looks like a 3-0 for Change My Mind, unless they can reverse the pressure. Initially, Method Black lead the assault on Minpoike. Change My Mind are trying to follow suit. Can they catch up on the race? Hook Point was a risky gamble of a map choice from Change My Mind. This could just be all-out aggression towards the Druids, which will falter first. Minpoike's Glider Safeguard has procced. He tries to line of sight around the corner and avoid the spell steals. Raikou is polymorph denying it for now. Minpoike anticipating the stun, getting into bear form. Still respecting it, trading the bark skin, not wanting to falter. However, I would say Chaz has gotten out of this a lot more scot-free so far than Minpoike.
Yeah, but look, Minpoike, no trinket, no iron bark, no bark skin, no nothing. Minpoike's in so much trouble. If they catch him out of form, it's game over. They just have so much damage available, and Minpoike just not healing himself up. Chaz is chilling right now in bear form. He's going to be completely fine. Once again, a defensive blind comes in from Acro. He has to try to keep Minpoike alive, but now they lose that blind opportunity, and Waz realizes it. They're going to go rogue. This is looking like an exact repeat of game number 1.
This is looking like an exact repeat. Where's the blind? They've got the bomb. Are they going to go for it? Chaz gets counterspelled. Change My Mind are trying to switch targets, going after Waz. Kidney shot, but he pre-feints. Will it be enough? Smoke bomb gets dropped. Waz trinkets to try and escape, but gets novid for a moment. Chaz is still crowd controlled. Waz is in trouble. Change My Mind are trying to push to put a point on the board. They're so close. 5 seconds for Iron Bark. Waz shadow steps back away to Chaz's side, stalling the fight out just long enough. Iron Bark now available, but likely not even needed. Acro cloned on his Vendetta. Perfect evasive maneuvers on Waz's part to stay alive through that situation. They still have the blind, I believe, and Poike still has no Glider's Medallion, but they're running out of time. 18 seconds on the clock. They're going to stun up Acro, trying to stall the fight. Looks like they're abandoning that line of play. And Poike with a slight mana lead, and despite the initial aggression from Method Black, the game is turning into Change My Mind's favor.
Yeah, Waz does manage to survive that kidney. Did a really good job drinking the Crimson Vial right before the stun went off, so he was able to heal himself up just a little bit. Raikou getting controlled up. If we look at mana, Chaz is actually way behind. I think Chaz has been pre-healing a lot in this matchup, so his team can remain aggressive. That could be something that ends up biting them a little bit later on in this game. If Minpoike can maintain a mana lead and we see this game go on for another couple of minutes, that could be a win condition, but it has to get to that point. Minpoike bark skins overlaps it with the trinket. It is Vendetta, so it is a scary moment, but maybe an overreaction. Waz now in a little bit of trouble. Feint comes in, he gets out of the stun. Iron Bark, Chaz in a Cyclone. Nice plays by Minpoike. He's looking to get aggressive, but Waz trades out the Cloak of Shadows. Waz actually really vulnerable here. He only has the evasion. There's no more Cloak of Shadows. Chaz with no Iron Bark. Waz could just easily fall. Smoke Bomb drops down. Acro in a stun. Massive damage comes in from Method Black. Are they going to take Acro down again? And Poike in a full blind. What are you going to do, Acro? He vanishes away, but he gets caught out. trying to just hide behind the pillar. He gets the re-stealth. He might be able to survive. That was a nice attempt by Method Black, but really good defensive kiting by Acro.
Acro cycloned. They're waiting. They're biding their time. Icy Veins available. Raikou could just nail that for a kill very shortly. If any crowd control is secured on Minpoike, what do they have available? They go for Kidney Shot, no crowd control. Minpoike can freely heal. They need to look for something soon if they want to develop pressure off this. Otherwise, Acro has Vendetta. Fried Kitty's going to lead the charge with his Icy Veins. Both Icy Veins blown by the respective Frost Mages. Acro gets Cyclone, denying some of the innervate healings. Chaz gets caught by an Icy Veins Polymorph. Well done by Fried Kitty. That opens up a kill potentially onto Waz. Ray of Frost dealing huge damage. They shadow step for the Kidney Shot through the evasion. Beautifully done by Acro. Big Star Surge from Minpoike. The Gladiator Safeguard. They need to get it off. Can Fried Kitty spell steal? Yes, he does. The Gladiator's Maledict's absorbing all the heals, and Waz is going to go down in game 3. Change my mind. Staying alive in the series.
Yeah, Fried Kitty. I think he was MVP at the end of that one. He snipes the Polymorph with his Icy Veins, with his offensive Ice Block. Chaz, for a rare occasion, because he was chilling at the start of that one when they were tunneling him. He was as if it was like a mosquito, like trying to bite him or something. I don't know, but the sheep comes in from Fried Kitty, and they do manage to pull one on the board here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fried Kitty had a great performance at the end of that one, but honestly, Chaz, and this is not just Chaz's fault, but they had a guaranteed kill on Acro where he was kidney shotted in a smoke bomb. Minpoike was bashed up. Chaz could have went for the clone, but decided not to because Waz had his blind and Minpoike didn't have his trinket. But the problem is Waz had to move all the way over to Minpoike, and that allowed him to get out of the bash and left a gap, like we call it a gap, where basically between the CC chain, the CC'd person can get a global off, and he gets his Iron Mark off, he gets a Swift Mend off, which allows Acro to actually survive during that entire time Minpoike was in that blind, and that was the difference maker. If Chaz just would have went for a clone out of the bash, Acro would have died, but instead they wanted to go for the longer CC chain. Method Black, just kind of didn't coordinate well enough there, and then here, of course, at the end, Fried Kitty just with a preemptive polymorph there with the Icy Veins, pre-Ray of Frost as well, as Waz is about to go around that corner. Waz with the feint as he gets kidney shot, not going to be enough when the CC chain is this long. Raikou doing what he can to try to kind of weather the storm here, sheeping up Fried Kitty, sheeping up Acro, using his counter spells, and etc., but not going to be enough. CC chain is just too long when you get 2 polys and a bash cyclone, so nicely done by Change My Mind to put a point on the board, but a little bit of a blunder as well from Method Black.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been kind of back and forth. I feel like in this series, though, especially game 2, it would have been a little bit harsh on Change My Mind if this had gone 3-0.
Yeah, I think so, because game 2 was so close. Waz barely survived that game, so these games have been very, very fun, very fast-paced, and quite evenly matched as well, I would say.
All right, well, it is still in advantage of Method Black. They are 2-1 up on the board. We're not expecting either side to deviate. The Rogue Mage Druid mirror does seem to be the composition, and I mean, it's the team to beat, quite frankly, in Europe. Like, you have to be able to beat these Rogue Mages. We saw Zyzon trying to do so. We saw Wildcard Gaming almost being able to do so with the Warrior and the Death Knight, but I love to see the mirrors. I don't really care which compositions are coming in. Mirrors are fun. The DK Windwalker yesterday was a lot of fun between Method Orange Boys and Resurgent, all 3 of those guys. Now we're going to see Rogue Mage mirrors playing out. It's great to see people playing what they're best at, and I mean, who's the best of them?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's looking like Method Black, but there has been a lot of close games. I mean, even the games that Changed My Mind lost, besides the first game, game number 2 was actually really close. Waz barely survived at one moment, so really could have gone either way. A little bit more damage, and it could be a 2-1 in favor of Change My Mind. Pretty evenly matched, I would say both of these teams are. We'll have to see if Change My Mind can battle it back. This is going to be the map pick of Method Black. It seems like Method Black, they like the larger maps. Change My Mind, they prefer the smaller maps, and I'm not exactly sure why. Of course, being a mirror match, the map shouldn't play into either side's advantage, but we'll have to see how this one goes.
I mean, if we're thinking about strategies from something like StarCraft, usually the players that have to rush the other team down are lesser experienced if they're relying on kind of like that cheese strategy. So perhaps Change My Mind are going for the smaller maps to try and catch the other team off guard with some aggression. On the larger maps, Method Black assume that they're going to make the correct decision more frequently over an extended period of time. Right now, though, it's not looking too great for Chaz. Change My Mind certainly getting the better end of the first attack.
Yeah, Chaz still a little bit low. He's used Trinket and Barkskin. Kidney Shot now on Acro. Chaz manages to escape behind the pillar. That was a big offensive push, but it wasn't Vendetta. These Druids are playing really scared in the matchup, but you can't blame them. They cannot afford to fall further and further behind in the match. Waz right now caught into a kidney shot. That was a smoke bomb of Acro. Chaz with a preemptive Iron Bark keeps him alive, holds on to his defensives. Nice play there by Chaz, but look, Minpoike has Trinket, Iron Bark, Bark Skin. Pressure surely in favor of Changed My Mind right now.
All right, let's see if they can tie it up here. Chaz gets counterspelled. That could be devastating. Waz on such low health, stuck in midfield. A full blind with no trinket. What are you going to do, Waz? He vanishes, stealthing away and stunning up two of the members of Changed My Mind. Trying to hold on, but he's still in a lot of trouble. Sap secured, and potentially the game. Waz reverses it, stunning Acro away. Trying to duck around the corner with the Cloak of Shadows, making him immune to the mage pressure. Actually poking Minpoike despite that. Bit of a close call for Waz, but he gets away with it relatively okay. Still with evasion left in the tank. Iron Bark as well. The game is certainly evened out. Changed My Mind are switching to Raikou, having seen him use an Ice Block, trying to find that line as a punish, but Temporal Shield is going to deny it.
Yep, I think Raikou should be okay. It seems like rogues are the main target in the match. Acro and Waz exchanging blows. Waz lands a kidney shot. Chaz looking for a Cyclone. There is a counterspell available. He has to be careful. Fried Kitty gets a counterspell. It's going to be nice. He actually uses it on Raikou instead. Polymorph spam coming in from Fried Kitty, looking to deny. Acro gets the Shadow Step kick onto Chaz. Waz still in a little bit of trouble. He has the evasion. He has the Vendetta. But Acro still not able to get out too much damage. Chaz looks like he is going to be able to stabilize him.
All right, let's see if he can keep it going here. Mana not looking too good. It's quite dwindled down, only 2 minutes into the game. Smoke bomb attempt, big power play by Method Black, but Acro escapes, trading both of his defensive cooldowns. Bit of a close call, almost a blowout for Change My Mind in Game 4. Chaz securing crowd control, both players casting at the same time. You can't stop both. Ring of Frost secured. Waz is pushing for the kill, but Fried Kitty is keeping Waz at bay for now. Acro pinned on one side by Raikou. Waz closes in on the opposite. All three members going to collide. How is Acro going to stay alive? A full blind secured. There's no cooldowns left. Fried Kitty, in desperation, is polymorphing the damage dealers to hold out as long as possible. The Gladiator safeguard stalls. Acro stays alive. Iron Bark now saving him. Waz cycloned on his evasion. Acro cycloned on the Iron Bark. Both teams battling it out to the absolute last cooldown, the absolute last crowd control. The mana is almost completely tapped at 3 minutes in. This is startling between Change My Mind and Method Black.
There's so much pressure. These Druids they're trying not to fall behind in the matchup. They get caught in these really long crowd control chains. It's interesting to see how these mirrors have evolved even from just a week ago. Kidney shot now on Fried Kitty. Good pressure coming in from Waz. They're looking to reverse the pressure onto Fried Kitty. Big burst damage coming in from Method Black, but with no crowd control on Minpoike, he should be able to bounce back. Minpoike was looking for a drink, unable to find it. He doesn't want to fall behind. He gets interrupted. This could easily be the second ice block of Fried Kitty. Vanish, Garrote, Silence comes in. Minpoike gets bashed into a Cyclone. Fried Kitty blinks away, now into a kidney shot. Waz on a solo mission, trying to get that second and final potentially ice block of the game. Safeguard procs. Ice block trades out. This is looking really scary for Fried Kitty.
Yep, Method Black make a switch. 2 ice blocks out of the way. Now Minpoike has to worry about himself. He has to worry about Acro and Fried Kitty going down in the next assault. You can't have your life bloom on 3 targets, so this is going to be difficult for Minpoike to survive, whereas Chaz can still rely on one more ice block from Raikou. Potentially he's worried a bit more about himself with no Gladiator's Medallion, and he is the target for Change My Mind. They realize that this is dire. They need to end the game soon, so they're going to go after the healer, try and close it out. Chaz has both Barkskin and Iron Bark. Unlikely that we see him go down at this point. Jumping to Raikou's side. Acro overextending. Waz going to cheap shot him, but it looks like they're going on the mage. Fried Kitty Temporal Shields before being silenced, although they haven't committed too much damage just yet. Still holding on to it. Minpoike has Gladiator's Medallion available for blind. Waz going to need to look to find that as soon as possible, or maybe find it with a swap. Both teams are just kind of feeling out the situation, trying to close in for what could be the final setup. Chaz is cycloned, Waz is polymorphed. Change My Mind have control of Method Black, but they're certainly not capitalizing on it just yet. They are going to switch to Chaz. Minpoike lobbing in some damage as well with that balance affinity, trying to add to the mix and close the game out. Chaz going to Iron Bark. Wild charging over to Stunman Poike as Method Black looked to bounce back. Smoke bomb dropped here, but it was by Acro preemptively to try and stop some damage. How much damage is it going to stop? Ultimately, it might not even matter. That was a huge hit by Raikou to close game 4. Method Black take the series 3-1.
Yep, very well played by Method Black. I think it's fair to say they were deserving of that one. Great mirrors, great back and forth between the two teams. I think Acrolol's used his Cloak of Shadows offensively at the end there. They were able to find the punish, and Method Black will be our first team going through to today's grand final in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, this is hardly unexpected for us, but
I'm shocked.
Method Black, very shocking. But Method Black, you know, they are the king of the mirrors right now, and change my mind. They just gotta shake it off and you know, try again in the lower bracket, because there's another Rogue Mage waiting there. And like you mentioned already, Hakro did use his cloak offensively, and Waz actually goes for the re-stealth of a polymorph and then uses his cloak as well to use that subterfuge. This is the poly right here. Fried Kitty unfortunately didn't keep him in combat, so he allows him to re-stealth. He gets him out with a Pet Nova though, right there, but Waz can just cloak and still use that subterfuge effect, set up a nice little big garrote there, sheep shot sheep onto Fried Kitty, which of course is going to allow you know, Raikou and Chaz to get that CC chain. Fried Kitty gets spell locked on Arcane, which means he cannot use his counter spell there. He hits it onto Chaz. Mimpoike trinkets out of the last couple of seconds out of that Ring of Frost, immediately gets blinded on his trinket, and that's it.
Yep, that is it. Well, that is it for now in that specific series. But of course, now we're going to head over to what will presumably be more Rogue Mage mirrors between Diabolos and Change My Mind in the lower. One of those teams, of course, will win and advance through for a second chance, potentially, at Method Black later on today. So that's going to be our first grand finalist locked in. Method Black, no real surprises. They've been in every single grand final in the European Cups this year. But now I'm very excited for this one, because we've been kind of building Diabolos up as this Rogue Mage mirror team. Yes, Method Black has proven us that they're not the best, but still, that build-up, it might have some substance, because if they can beat Change My Mind, then that's going to be just as good for them in this sense that it will bring them to that grand final.
I think a lot of teams were scared of Diabolos in the mirror, but for Change My Mind, those games weren't too bad. There was a lot of moments where they could have won the game. They did end up winning one, and I feel like they are up to the task of going head-to-head with Diabolos. Like I said, I think it will be Rogue Mage mirrors all the way, but Change My Mind has the benefit of being a little bit warmed up. They just have to make sure they can shake off the fact that they lost, take some of the lessons that they may have learned from Method Black. How did they lose? What were the win conditions of Method Black? They can take those lessons, use them against Diabolos, and potentially pull out a win.